White House is supportive of the Department of War's investigation into Senator Mark Kelly.
The case against former FBI Director James Comey is getting dismissed.
I'm grateful that the court ended the case against me, which was a prosecution based on malevolence and incompetence.
Everybody knows that James Comey lied to Congress. It's as clear as day.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a spicy one for you tonight. Senator Mark Kelly is being court-martialed, apparently by Pete Hegseth. A Bill Clinton-appointed judge has thrown out the criminal cases against James Comey and Attorney General Letitia James. What is going on here? That just happened, and it has nothing to do with the merits of the case. It actually has to do with a technicality. Yes. So we all know who this judge is. It's a judge that rules based off of politics and not law. But where the heck is anyone asking this? Is anyone? Please tell me. Is anyone asking where the heck is Pam Bondi? Please, we want to know. Pam Bondi, where are you? Are you going to do anything except go on Fox News every now and then and screw up the Epstein file release? Screw everything up? Are you going to actually do anything? Because I don't have very high hopes. I do see, though, a lot of people posting stuff about Mark Kelly, who's apparently being court-martialed, while Letitia James and James Comey, it looks like, are going to get off the hook. They're going to be off the hook completely. Donald Trump posted this, and I love to see the theatrics, guys. I don't want to be a downer or anything like that. But Donald Trump posted this, the seditious 6 behind bars. And yes, this is what I would like to see. I would actually like to see this in reality, not just through some AI generated video. However, there is something going on. It does appear. I don't know if this is actually going to come to fruition, but if it does, this could be huge. The Department of War, they put out this statement, and I don't know how serious this is. I don't know if this is just political theater. Guys, I just report on what I see, and, it makes me excited when I see something like this. This is an official statement from the Department of War. Check it out. The Department of War has received serious allegations of misconduct against Captain Mark Kelly in accordance with the Uniform Code of Military Justice, 10 U.S.C. Statute 688, and other applicable regulations. A thorough review of these allegations has been initiated to determine further actions, which may include recall to active duty for court-martial proceedings. Are we going to see this guy court-martialed? Is this a loophole to get one of these seditious 6? I wonder. What do you guys think? Or administrative measures. This matter will be handled in compliance with military law, ensuring due process and impartiality. Further official comments will be limited to preserve the integrity of the proceedings. The Department of War reminds all individuals that military retirees remain subject to the UCMJ for applicable offenses, and federal law such as 18 U.S.C. Statute 2387 prohibit actions intended to interfere with the loyalty, morale, or good order and discipline of the armed forces. Wow, and that's exactly what he did. He took part in this video that was insinuating that Donald Trump somehow was issuing illegal orders, and they put out this call to all of the active military members and intelligence community members and told them, you've got to disobey unlawful orders. Well, but they can't point to any unlawful order that Donald Trump did. They tried. The news, all of these media stations, they tried to ask them, hey, can you tell us what unlawful order you are referring to here? And they couldn't. They in a couple cases, they referred to a couple hypothetical ones, but nothing concrete. So what are they doing here? They're putting out a blanket statement, trying to get these crazies to interpret what Donald Trump is doing as unlawful. And we all know there's a lot of crazies out there. So one of them is bound to do it, and their life is going to be ruined in the process. Everyone knows this. These senators, like Alyssa Slotkin, what's going to happen to her? She's got money. She's got power. She's cushioned from all of this. But the average person that decides to disobey unlawful orders, they're going to prison. Their life is going to be ruined. These people are sick. And it finishes off, all service members are reminded that they have a legal obligation under the UCMJ to obey lawful orders, and that orders are presumed to be lawful. A service member's personal philosophy does not justify or excuse the disobedience of an unlawful otherwise unlawful order. So that is the official statement from the Department of War. Yes. And this was retweeted by Pete Hegseth. This is exciting stuff, guys. If I see a active senator, a sitting senator be court-martialed, oh man, I'm going to jump with joy. Pete Hegseth said the video made by the seditious six was despicable, reckless, and false, encouraging our warriors to ignore the orders of their commanders, undermines every aspect of, quote, good order and discipline. Their foolish screed sows doubt and confusion, which only puts our warriors in dangers. 5 of the 6 individuals in that video do not fall under the Department of War jurisdiction, so the rest of them don't. So he's putting a spotlight on Mark Kelly here. He says 1 is CIA and 4 are former military but not retired, so they are no longer subject to UCMJ. However, Mark Kelly, retired Navy commander, is still subject to UCMJ, and he knows that. So Mark Kelly may have made a massive misstep here, and it could land him in the brig, guys. This little mistake could land Mark Kelly in the brig. As was announced, the department is reviewing his statements and actions, which were addressed directly to all troops, while explicitly using his rank and service affiliation, lending the appearance of authority to his words. Kelly's conduct brings discredit upon the armed forces and will be addressed appropriately. And we had someone come to his defense. Guys, you remember Ruben Gallego? Yes, he put out a little video driving. I don't know where he's driving from, but he put out a little video driving, and he says, we are not going to be intimidated. He said, Mark, hey, Pete, we will not be intimidated, as he's driving. But I'm going to say one thing. This is not just Pete Hegseth. The White House is now backing this up as well. But take a little peek at what Ruben Gallego is saying, because he is absolutely panicking. Check it out.
This is fucking insane. We should all point out how fucking insane this is. Hey, this is Ruben Gallego. I'm traveling through Arizona right now, and I just received the news that the Department of Defense is starting investigation against my seatmate, Mark Kelly. This is fucking insane. We should all point out how fucking insane this is. And, you know, these guys are trying to say that they're not acting like fascists, they're not trying to give as much power to this president as a king, and they should stop acting like it. Mark Kelly's a patriot. There's no reason why they're going after him. He was doing his duty and just reminding people about their rights as service members. And, you know, Secretary Hegseth, all these guys, fuck you guys. You're not going to be able to scare us. We have a right to defend the Constitution of the United States. We have a right to tell other service members that they have a right to ignore illegal orders, and you're not going to be able to intimidate us.
Okay. First of all, is he crying? Is Senator Gallego here? Is he crying? He looks like he has tears in his eyes. His eyes are very glassy. He's either crying or he is high. Hey, guys, I'm just calling it how I see it. But he is coming out. He is saying, oh, we're not going to be intimidated. Senator Mark Kelly, he was simply doing his job. He was reminding service members that they can disobey illegal, unlawful orders. No. That's not what was happening there. There was a lot of implication in that video, and they all know it. Now they're all coming to his defense. They're all coming to the defense of the so-called seditious six. But, Mark Kelly might be a little bit screwed because despite this coming from the Department of War and Pete Hegseth, the White House is now saying they stand behind this investigation. Listen to this. This was Carolyn Levitt. She said the White House is supportive of the Department of War's investigation into Senator Mark Kelly. So you better buckle up, Mark Kelly, because the full weight of the White House, and I'm hoping Pam Bondi, the do-nothing Attorney General, is about to come down on you, and they are backing this up. Take a look.
The White House is supportive of the Department of War's investigation into Senator Mark Kelly, and I think what Senator Mark Kelly was actually trying to do was intimidate the 1.3 million active duty service members who are currently serving in our United States Armed Forces with that video that he and his Democrat colleagues put out. Senator Mark Kelly well knows the rules of the military and the respect that one must have for the chain of command, and that all lawful orders are preserved presumed to be legal by our service members. You can't have a functioning military if there's disorder and chaos within the ranks. And that's what these Democrat members were encouraging. It's very clear. And not a single one of them, since they've been pressed by the media, and I'll give you guys credit for that, can point to a single illegal order that this administration has given down, because it does not exist. They knew what they were doing in this video, and Senator Mark Kelly and all of them should be held accountable for that. The White House is supportive.
She is absolutely correct. Anyone else notice how articulate the press secretary is? She just says it so perfectly. I love how she puts this. They can't point to any unlawful order that President Donald Trump has done. Not a single one. So why did they put out that video? It's not like there was a pandemic of unlawful orders that were coming down on the military. So why did they do it? The implication is there. And after they were called out roundly in the media, which is kind of surprising because, guys, I'm not the biggest fan of the media, but even the media was like, what the heck? Okay, we need something to go off of. We can't just run with this and say that Donald Trump is putting out unlawful orders, because Trump is suing media companies now. So we can't just run with this and say this. We got to have something to go off of. So, they went to the senator. Hey, can you tell us what exact unlawful orders Donald Trump is doing so that we can, talk about this in the press? And they couldn't point to a single one. So, of course, they got roundly condemned and called out. And someone who is not happy with the fact that Senator Slotkin said that Trump hasn't issued any illegal orders, which I don't know why he's unhappy with her about this, because he hasn't, and she can't point to something. Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe, which, if you guys notice this is something that happened just not too long ago. Notice here, I'm going to mute this, see if I can get this bar down here. Notice the logo for MSNBC has changed to MS Now. So their rebranding has changed from MSNBC to MS Now. So don't be tricked. This is the same trash news organization that it always has been. It's now just has a new package on it. Kind of like when you buy a bag of potato chips, and then you notice that, hey, they have different packaging. It says same great taste. Well, this is MSNBC, just a different package, same lies. But Morning Joe Scarborough, is not happy that Alyssa Slotkin said that there's not a illegal order that Trump has issued. This is what he had to say. Take a listen.
Okay, wrong answer.
Well,
I'm sorry, with all due respect, wrong answer. President of the United States, the commander-in-chief, does have, Jonathan Lemire, wide latitude. Just does. And the Senate can take that up, but he has wide latitude on strikes. Ask Barack Obama and drone strikes. Ask George W. Bush and drone strikes. But where we know the president has said, I am going to give illegal orders to people in the military, is when he was on Air Force One, coming back, I forget where he was coming back from, but he said, I can send the Marines, I can send the Army, I can send the Air Force, I can send the Coast Guard into any city I want to control crime. And the courts can't do anything about it. That's illegal. It's just illegal. And so Democrats kind of need to, if the president has already said.
So there was this one time at this one place where Donald Trump said this one thing, is basically what he is saying. And here's the thing. Where's the illegal order? You're referencing something Donald Trump said about something. What's going on in these cities? What's going on in these cities is they're getting rid of illegal aliens, and that is 100% under the purview of the federal government and ICE agents, and that's what Donald Trump is doing because that's what he was elected to do. But, guys, we've got to kind of change pace here because this just happened, and this is not good. A Bill Clinton appointed judge has thrown out the criminal cases against former FBI Director James Comey and also New York Attorney General Letitia James. And this was all based off of a technicality. This wasn't based on the merits of the case. This is absolutely crazy, guys. This is how you know for sure. I mean, we know this, but it keeps cropping up over and over again. The same thing. What is that? Politicized judges. And this is what causes a country to fall. When politics gets involved in the law like this, when you have corrupt judges getting involved and making our laws and stopping what the federal branch can or the executive branch can and cannot do. This is what causes the rot to fester in our country. Take a look at this. This is what happened. These cases have been dismissed by this Clinton judge. Take a listen.
The case against former FBI Director James Comey is getting dismissed. The judge ruling the appointment of interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan violated the Constitution. The judge also criticized the DOJ for allowing an FBI agent who viewed Comey's privileged materials to testify to the grand jury. Now, the judge also tossed the case against Letitia James.
Oh, just as a little afterthought, just a foot. Oh, also, we're just going to go ahead and toss the case against Letitia James as well. And James Comey has responded. He's jubilant, guys, and I don't like to see this, but there might be some hope left, if Pam Bondi will get off of her couch or wherever she is, whatever hole she has dug herself into with this embarrassment over the Epstein files and her handling of the whole thing. If she'll get out of that hole and come and do something about this, this might not be the end of this, because the White House has said that James Comey should not be celebrating. But either way, we're going to play you a little portion of the celebration that James Comey made. Take a look.
I'm grateful that the court ended the case against me, which was a prosecution based on malevolence and incompetence, and a reflection of what the Department of Justice has become under Donald Trump, which is heartbreaking. But I was also inspired by the example of the career people who refused to be part of this travesty.
So that is what James Comey had to say. He had a lot more to say than that. However, it's, you're not going to want to hear it. It's just a lot of fluff and whatnot. He says it's heartbreaking what the DOJ has become. And, I actually would like to echo that sentiment. The DOJ is soft and feckless. Where are the arrests? Where are the deep state arrests? Where are we draining the swamp? Come on. We need to be absolutely brutal to these people, because you saw them when Joe Biden was in office. They freaking had the FBI kick down the door of Mar-a-Lago, go through Mar-a-Lago, raided Donald Trump's house in Florida. Donald Trump got arrested in Georgia in Fulton County. I was there. And we can't even have an indictment against James Comey and Letitia James. Guys, this is sick stuff. And now we have Carolyn Levitt, who seems to be better with her words than Pam Bondi ever has been. She's the one coming out and responding to this, which, she sounds better than Pam Bondi. But really, I think this is something that Pam Bondi should come and respond to if she would ever do something. But Carolyn Levitt says that James Comey should not be celebrating because the administration is not going to back down. And to that I say, I'll believe it when I see it, but take a listen.
Well, what I will say is that everybody knows that James Comey lied to Congress. It's as clear as day. And this judge took an unprecedented action to throw these cases out to shield James Comey and Letitia James from accountability based on a technical ruling. And the administration disagrees with that technical ruling. We believe the attorney in this case, Lindsay Halligan, is not only extremely qualified for this position, but she was in fact legally appointed. And I know the Department of Justice will be appealing this in very short order. So maybe James Comey should pump the brakes on his victory lap.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, is it a giant mess. But I do want to kind of get into a little bit more details on this Letitia James and James Comey thing, because, guys, this is pretty interesting stuff. Letitia James is someone I followed and who I absolutely abhor. I have a lot of very intense dislike for this woman. But this is kind of the whole situation right here. Federal judge dismisses indictments against Letitia James and James Comey, saying Lindsay Halligan appointment was unlawful. So it has nothing to do with the merits. It was because apparently there was an unlawful appointment. Are you kidding me? So this case gets dismissed, but all of Jack Smith's cases during the Biden administration, how did they hold water? Because Jack Smith, everyone knows that special prosecutor was unlawful as it came. But for some reason, his cases were able to fly for the whole administration, the whole time. Joe Biden's entire time in the White House, Jack Smith was able to do his little song and dance. But check this out. A federal judge dismissed the indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and Letitia James. The judge found that President Trump's appointment of interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan in Alexandria, Virginia, was invalid. It says Trump handpicked Halligan for the role amid increasing pressure to bring criminal cases against his political enemies, including Comey and James. Quote, the Attorney General's attempt to install Ms. Halligan as interim U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was invalid. Okay. According to Curry, quote, all actions flowing from Ms. Halligan's defective appointment, including the indictments against Comey and James, were unlawful exercises of executive power and are hereby set aside. Guys, the irony, guys. Can you believe this? God, man, I wish our side had even an ounce of the power that their side has. They have judges that just throw out cases. I mean, the corruption runs so deep, it's mind-boggling. The judge tossed out the cases without prejudice, leaving open the possibilities that the cases against Comey and James can be brought again, alleging the same conduct. But McGowan Curry appeared to acknowledge in a ruling that for Comey, such a move may not be possible since the statute of limitation for his charges has now passed. Well, would you look at that? So she's saying, oh, well, you can bring the charges again. I put forth this motion without prejudice, so you can bring it again. But, oh, gosh darn it. It looks like the statute of limitations has passed. Oh, that sucks. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's just the dog and pony show is absolutely incredible. On full display today, yesterday, and this past week with these seditious six coming out and telling members of the military and intelligence agencies to disobey orders. And now we have Mark Kelly apparently being court-martialed, Letitia James and Comey. Their indictments have now been dropped, snipped off at the bud by a corrupt judge appointed by Bill Clinton. It's all so hilarious, isn't it, guys? Come on, Pam Bondi. I'm thinking of that meme. Have you guys ever seen that meme where that person is standing there and there's something on the ground and he's poking it with a stick? Hey, come on, do something. Come on, can you do something other than fumble the ball? I mean, that seems like all Pam Bondi is good for. It just sucks. But what do you guys think? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. But until then, I'll see you on the next one.